In this video help, we're going to be talking about the user interface for the application. And the way that this works, and as you'll notice, I've added a new button here that is for the video help screens. If you click on this, you will be able to watch the videos that we're now looking at. For example, if I click here, you wait a second, and you're looking at YouTube videos. In this particular case, there's one in there right now for the introduction overview video that we did. In order to see that, you would click down here, or once the video is running, for example, if I click on the in this area, video tutorial is an overview, and you can hear it talking, but along with that you're going to get some options like filling the full screen size. If you click on this, it's going to give you the ability to increase the resolution up to 720 HD, which makes it easier to view. So if I restart it, I'm waiting a second for it to come on. You'll notice that it's much clearer and a much better picture. So it's in 720 HD. If you click here again, you're going to see that it is in 720 HD right now. So it helps you. You can also put subtitles or closed caption at the bottom. Now, with this application, we were going to the navigation, and I'm going to pop up here. I'm going to show you what these two things are about. The first one is the actual screen navigation. If I tap on it, in this case we're on the desktop in a simulator, and I'm simulating the iPad, in this case the iPad 2. I have the main screen there where we started at. If I click on that, it'll take me back to the main screen with one tap. Now, one of the things nice about this application, the way it's designed, is it will allow you to go to any screen in the application with one tap. No matter what screen you're on, open this navigation selection, screen selection, and you can click on any or tap on anything in this screen and be able to see those screens that are related to, for example, production or auction or list screens or automotive directory. Now let's talk about the actual application as far as what's inside in the screens. They're color coded based on the group that they're in. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different groups in this navigation screen. The first one is all about production. This is the where you do your service and renovation or anything that's related to that process. So if you're doing a project where you want to start a project, the topmost button in here is going to be the one where you start out at. This is the parent screen, and then these are all child screens that are related to this process that you're doing up here where you have a project and you're going to start doing it. Down here, this is a separate database actually within the database application where you're looking at automotive directory and all of its related screens. And then over here, this is for auction, events, and scheduling and all of its related screens. And down here, these are scrollers, which we'll talk about later and explain how scrollers differentiate different drop-down fields and how you can edit those drop-down fields either in the iPad or in the iPhone. To start with, we're going to go through, starting with the production screens, and we're going to go through a whole group in a video, the automotive directory and their group, the auctions and events, and then these list screens. So the next thing you want to do is to, each time you want to start the next video, go ahead and click on the video help and then take the related screen that is in the listing for the video help and take those screens until you understand how to use those different screens, starting with always the production screen. Now let me be clear. I'm going to go over and show you this. In the production screen, there are the top level fields at the top, and I'm going to explain the nature of what's on this screen. These are individual fields where you create the production schedule record, and then you enter the data for that production schedule, which is talking about the items in there. And these are just general information about the screen. This is a multi-line portal. You can do searches on the top screen record fields up here. You cannot do them in a actual portal without going to the individual record in the portal screen and then going into that portal screen and doing a search within there. How do you do a search? Well, you go over here and you'll see it says start search. You enter your data that you want to look for, and then you say perform the search. You can also navigate to the next record, prior record, first record, last record. Once you've done a search and you want to return all the records to selection, which is the records that are currently found set is what it's called, Then you would say, okay, I want to show everything. Click on Show All Records. It will show all the records. If you want to omit an individual record from the current search, and let's go over and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a list view, and there's 3 records in here. If I wanted to omit one record, I could highlight any field in the record, go over here and say omit that record, and you'll see that it disappears. You can do one or multiple records just by highlighting the record and then omitting that record. If I wanted to return all the records, I'd say show all records, and you'll see that they return again. If I wanted to show the omitted, that I omitted the records on, what I can do is I'll first show you this. This is kind of important. If you come down here and you see this little thing, I can move between records by clicking either direction, but if I click the target in the center, you're going to see there's 3 records in the found set that match. I'm on record 3 of 3, which is the last record. If there were any omitted, there'd be the number over here showing the amount of records that are omitted. If I wanted to show the omitted, I could click here, or if I said I wanted to omit a record, I could click on it and it would say omit records, number of records 1, omit, and it's gone. Now if I come back down, I just click in any field to bring the target area up, click in here, you'll see now that there's 1 omitted and 2 records shown. I'm on record 2 of 2. Why is this important? This is kind of critical when you're doing searches or trying to get relevant records to which you want to print or review. You can start out by either doing a search and grouping records and seeing how they're managed here. And you can also do this too. You can go click this little guy here and it'll move up a record and it's going to the next record. You can also go this way and say show all records, and they're all returned. Now you may want to repeat this video to see all that information. You also have the ability within these things to do a print setup. Now this is usually for the desktop computer for this application. You can do a print record and it gives you a pop-up, and in the print record you can say I want to print the records in a range of, and you can say the current record or the found set. The found set is the entire number of records in here, or the current record that you're viewing. And the current record we're viewing is, if you see the black bar here, I'm looking at that particular record. That's the one that would print. So if you want just a one record, say like you're in a form and you want to print just the record you're viewing, you would do a current record. If you wanted to do found set, you're going to have to go tell it which of the items, in this case it's 3 of them in there, in the found set. The number of pages you can print, 1. The range, you can do a range, say from page 2, from 1 to 2 to 1 to 3 or whatever it is, or all the pages. Currently we're set up for all pages. Now, page size, for people in foreign countries, you have US, US legal, A4, A5, envelope, tabloid, and I love more because it gives you a whole nother set of things that you can use, and there's just about everything you can think in here to get A6, B3, it's just everything out there in the world to pick a size that you want to. Now, here's what's important. These particular pages are set up so that they're a certain size. And say, for example, you do A4 and it overruns the edge of the page. Well, you can scale it. If you've got a laser printer, you can say you want it at 25 or whatever you want to percent in here. If you put in there the specific size that allows you to print it, you can use any paper size and scale it to fit that paper size for the things that you want to know. Now, and I'm going to leave here in a second to show you this, but it also has a DPI. Depending on the printer, you can set it to the lower DPI dots per inch than you currently have set. Or if you're, for example, my printer goes up to 600 DPI and I don't want to waste the toner, I can click it down to something less, and that way I could save some toner. Then there's PDF. If I want to view the PDF in a form that I can view it, if I email it and I click an email, what it's going to do is it's going to create an email, and it's going to put the data in the back of the email as far as being on the screen in the email for what I want to send to whoever I'm sending it to. In this case, I got a crash. I'm just going to go ahead and say reopen it. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back over to where we were at in that list view, and I'm going to go to a different list view. And in this list view, what you're going to see here is a different set of records, and they look different. But what I want to point out here is that if you want to look at the individual record, you can tap on this green arrow at the edge of the record, or the one that says edit in some screens to take you into that record. If you're looking at something that's more like a report, and you want to put information up on the screen that's based on a report, for example, the bids and it looks like it's still a line out screen, and it's got numeric values in it. Let's pick a different one. Let's go to the, let's see here. I want to look at a list view that's got a bid of some sort on it. Build list. Let's try this in production. Nope, that's not it. But anyhow, for example, this is in a form view. Let's talk about that as opposed to a list view. In a list view, it's going to look like that. In a form view, it's going to look like the other one. Now, here's what I was actually trying to show you. Here's a list view with a summary total at the bottom. If I do a find over here by saying start find and then perform the find, all I have to do is provide something in the information that matches the record or records that I'm looking for. So for example, if I wanted to see all the records that were done on a build area for the hood, that's what's going to show up. And I could take it further and I could say I want the labor person hood that was done by Jane Smith, then only these 3 records would show and that one would be eliminated. You would say start the search, put that information and say perform it, and those are the records that would be shown to you. Okay, this is more about the user interface. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be covering as we go through the additional screens that are coming up. As we go through them one by one, we're going to be covering those unique things about those screens and the user interface that we're working with. If you have any questions from what you've seen in this video, you can always contact us by clicking here and going down to the developer support, and it'll take you to the developer support website where you can either start a chat or leave a message for us or send an email or call us. Now you can call if you're in the US. I will return calls to customers that are in the USA. If you're outside the USA, I will use Skype to contact you. If you have Skype, let me know or I'll email you. Thank you.